Hi, I'm Frank Iero.
Try not to wake me up, cause I don't feel too good. I'm tired of miracles and being so understood. Let's all be difficult and never try too hard.
So here's my first question. Stomach Aches came out 8/26/14.
Right.
Since then, you've done 3 videos. You've toured everywhere. Just looking over it, it was like the U.S., UK, Russia, Ireland, Australia. You've done acoustic shows. You've done festivals. You've toured with a whole bunch of different bands. In those 2 years that you've been doing that, what have you learned about yourself?
Oh man. Good first question. A lot is the easy answer. Specifically, I think I learned a lot about my place in all of this. I learned that making music and art and this faction of my life, like that I thought wasn't real life, and I thought was far removed from the person that I was, I found out is very much embedded in my DNA. It's not just something that I do, it's who I am. Found out that I can still do this, specifically this project, like this solo thing, on my own terms. And I don't have to be this image that I had in my head, that I had such disdain for.
Did you learn anything about like the way you do things, your processes?
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing, because I felt like for Stomach Aches, I didn't have any intention of writing a record, so I just wrote songs because that's what I needed to do for me. And then this time around, I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to continue this, I need to write a record, and I know people are going to hear it. So how do I do that? And I think, you know, that's when like the color just drained out of my face, and I was
See,
like,
that was actually going to be my next question.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, with Stomach Aches, you had no intentions. That was totally for you.
Right.
Whereas this album is more for an audience. It's still for you because you're still doing what you want to do with it.
Right.
But there's also an expectation of people hearing it. Whereas
Yes.
with Stomach Aches, there wasn't. And so, what was the change in the process there for your creative processes?
Well, for me, when say like writing lyrically for Stomach Aches, like I was very open and honest about things, but maybe it wasn't as clear when listening to it, and I didn't give that much thought because it didn't matter who was listening to it. Like I didn't think anyone was going to hear it. You know, this time around, you know, it is a diary that you know people are going to read. So you can either go 2 ways. You can lie and cover things up, you know, until there's no recollection of what happened. Or you can be as open and honest as possible, but also be as clear as possible, so that you know you understand what is being said and what's going on. I decided to take that route.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Yeah, I know. It was incredibly difficult, and I thought for a while I was like, all right, well, the writing process is going to be the most difficult, and the recording of it is just going to be, you know, that's the icing on the cake. Like that's going to be where you have fun to do it. And then I decided, you know, listening back to the demos and listening to the songs, and I was like, these songs really demanding to be pushed, you know, farther than I've ever done before. So that's when I was like, all right, well, I got to see what Ross Robinson's doing. And then when we went and saw him, I realized that was the hardest thing I was ever going to have to do, ever. And that process was unbelievable. All the stories that, like, you know, I'd heard all the folklore and all that stuff, like, leading up to it, didn't do it justice at all. It was like, it was above and beyond. And it was, at the same time, like, it was inspiring. It's crazy. I've always been taught that you have to break yourself down in order to build yourself up again and reach, like, another level, you know, try to chase greatness that way. And really, like, you know, that it's so ridiculous to me now, because, you know, going in with Ross, like, he never did that. He never cut anyone down. It was always, you know, showing you what is great about you and what's great about the things that you might hate about yourself, or the things that happen to you, you know. And, you know, realization of things sometimes happen for you and not to you, and and that sometimes the worst thing, the thing that we see as the worst thing that could ever happen is actually the greatest thing, because you get up from it and you learn from it and you become the person that you are today because of it.
So it was a very big of a learning process.
Yes.
So you had to not only be, I'm just curious about this, you not only had to be honest in terms of writing your lyrics, but also the music itself?
Yeah, well, the music for me is the initial, and it's hard for me to start with just a lyric. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I guess, maybe a falsehood, but I'll write certain things out, maybe they're sentences or maybe they're lyrics, but I don't have a clear intention that they're a song yet. They could just be just a sentence. That's like all it is. You know what I mean? I'll go back to those and then build off of that later. But the music has to happen first for me. And so yeah, I went a little bit crazy, I guess, like on the music, but that was also too because like it wasn't just me in front of the computer screen. Like I was able to have like Matt and Evan in the room, and like we would just be at this practice studio all day, for days and days and days, and I would be like, I have this song, and you'd work it until it was fucking like so precise, and then I would come in the next day and be like, all right, we have to change everything, and I did this for months, and I don't know how they didn't just like throw their shit down and just be like, figure it out and then come talk to us, but they were amazing, and I really feel like the record is better because of it. Like I felt comfortable doing that, being a little bit nuts.
And see, that leads perfectly into the other part of that question about your processes. It's like when you did Stomach Aches, you did pretty much everything by yourself.
Right.
You had some help with, some work, but it's basically you in the basement in your underwear doing the drums.
Sure.
Which is an image I can't forget at this point.
Yeah. But that was actually at North End.
Well,
the underwear, yeah.
Anyway.
It was really hot. That's why.
It was just a very dad thing to do, so
yeah,
it was
that's
like
true. That's
it was a dad thing.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Whereas with this new album, it wasn't just you. You had input from other people who...
Yeah, well, I was able
you to be better?
I was able to get... It was an immediacy there, which... and also, I mean, they're such great players that, like, things come very easy to them. And so I could throw ridiculous stuff out to them, and I could hear it back immediately, what it would sound like, if it worked or not. And then also too, it's like, if you tell someone to play something, no one's a robot. They're going to play it a certain way, and it's going to have flavor to it. Especially those two guys, like, there's something about the way they play. That's why I think we connect so well. So, that's inspiring to hear that back, as opposed to just like playing something on the computer and hearing it back. There's no life there. There was a life to the music immediately. Maybe that's why I changed it around so much. It was so easy for me to like go in and be like, all right, this works. This actually inspires me to do something else now, and this works, but it's not the right intention. So like, I just kept going back and back and back. I knew that it had to be perfect, not perfect like correct, like everything lined up, but like perfect like right for the song. And I knew that, I don't know, I had this feeling when I was writing this record that it was really important. You know what I mean? It's rare that you work on something that you have this feeling that you're like, holy shit, like I might have been put here for this, just for this moment. You know what I mean? You get those moments every once in a while, but like this process was, I don't know, there's something about it that there's a gravity to it that was unreal. The only other time I'd ever felt it was working with Mike on Blackbird. Like it was like, and it's funny that they're like 10 years apart. Like maybe every 10 years you get like this moment of greatness kind of thing. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think we got there.
But you're happy with the new album. I can't imagine you would put it out if you weren't happy. I mean, it's kind it's kind of a silly question to ask.
No, it's true. No, I wouldn't. But also there's something about it that I feel like I feel like a real sense of accomplishment. It's like one of those milestones.
I had some friends submit questions to me because I was like, I can ask a lot of questions. It'll be like a test, but. So one of the questions a friend of mine asked was, when you create, there's an inevitable distance between you and your creation, and that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to create something people you don't even ever meet or never know are going to see it, and they're going to experience it, and they're going to take away something from that. What do you hope that these people that you never meet are going to take away from your work? If anything.
No. Yeah, I had this conversation yesterday. I feel like it feels, I would feel uncomfortable dictating what somebody takes away. I only hope that they feel something. You know, I feel like the worst reaction to a piece of art that you toiled over is
Indifference.
Exactly. That's heartbreaking. Whether it's love or hate or what, like, you want people to be affected in some way. You want their life to be, you know, a little bit different after hearing it. And you know, that's why too, like, I have a hard time over explaining what songs are about, because I don't want to taint the
what people
what your interpretation is of that, like how you apply that to your own experiences. Like, that's the greatest thing about music, you know. So yeah, whatever that is, whatever you take from it, you know, I just hope I hope it betters you in some way.
Speaking of vocal training, we just mentioned this about having to do both deciphals and Frank Iero and the patients. Did it help to have a vocal teacher and that training now? Is that going to help with doing this kind of thing? And what kind of preparations are you, I mean, do you do anything different? Are you drinking more tea?
Yeah, drinking a lot of tea. I'm worried about it because I feel like ever since the recording process, which was July, maybe June, July, something like that. I felt like I had overexerted for that. Like, during that 17 days, like, I had to go to the doctor's twice and get like steroid injections just to be able to finish. And then recently, I've noticed that there's certain things that that will break. It'll break my voice like immediately. And I think I just need an extended like vocal break. I just haven't had a chance to do it. Plus, I talk constantly, so I think I just ramble on too much for my to go into total vocal rest. So I probably need to do that. As far as preparation for doing like a double header like this, I have no idea how you can prepare to do that. I'm trying my best, you know. Doing vocal warm-ups and doing a lot of, drinking a lot of tea and a lot of ginger. Taking advice from anybody and everybody that I could possibly ask, you know. If you're wearing like a Lord Gray shirt, like when we toured together, like I picked her brain constantly about what she did, because her voice is godly. It's unbelievable. I've never heard somebody that has more power in their voice. It's unbelievable. They could play like the loudest show ever and not have a microphone on, and you would still hear them.
Yeah, no, the show was acoustic and it was amazing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch that every day and then be like, oh, I gotta go sleep now. So anyway, but she chews like raw ginger all day, and that sucks. Like, I tried it. I was like, oh man.
How about the crystallized ginger? I mean, that's really sweet.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's rough, man. She just keeps it in her mouth all day, just chewing on it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that helps her. Also, I think for her, I like pineapple juice, but I have really bad heartburn sometimes, so that doesn't really work.
Pineapple's very acidic.
Yeah. So I try everything. I'll try anything twice.